You're listening to Copy Chief Radio. Get all the episodes and join the community at copychief.com.
Hey, welcome. It's Kev. I'm here with Susan Berkley today. Susan is amazing. I've known Susan for years. She is a voice expert, as in your voice, like you hear me using right now. This is her area of study. She trains people. Her area of specialty, if somebody's a voiceover artist, speakers, how to use inflections to be influential, all those things. I want to right away tell you to go to susanberkley.com and get a free copy of her book, The Persuasion Code. It's a really great tool for anybody who is in the field of persuasion, whether you're writing, speaking. We're all pretty much doing it all now. So you need to know Susan and her work. Susan, thanks for being here. It's great to see you again.
Oh, it's great, Kevin. Love your work too.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I want to start with the big controversy in our industry as we record this here on December 15th. There is a new bot and AI advancement, ChatGPT. And this thing's very clever. I played with it for like an hour last night. And it is? It's like a real-time Google search that'll condense information down for you and sort of type back at you a good answer to your question. For instance, I asked it about, I'm learning guitar. So I said, what is a mixolydian? And it gave me a really nice, clear 3-paragraph answer to what is a mixolydian. So a cool tool doesn't quite replace a human being connecting with other humans. And so really voice is the final factor here, right? Like people don't want a computer voice trying to connect with their audience. They want a human voice. So what do you say? And how do you ingest all these technical advancements that scare people that we're going to lose our jobs?
They share my students too, because in addition to being a consultant to experts and entrepreneurs who want to be better on camera and on mic, I have a large cohort of students who want to get into voiceover, like thousands of them. And they're always asking me the same thing, Kevin. They're like, will AI take our jobs? Because the human voice can be synthesized, and will it take our jobs? Okay. So there's a place for ChatGPT and there's a place for AI. I notice it's in most voicemails now, and voice talent used to record those. Okay, we can let that go. Mm-hmm. But the point is that computers are digital. Humans are not just analog, but we're so much more than that. We have an energy, Kevin, that's divine. And that energy, because we're created beings, right? We are created beings, and that comes through our voice. The Wadsworth, the great poet, said, the voice is the organ of the soul. And I know you have a lot of writers watching and listening to us right now. So is writerly work. It's an art form. It's art, and it's structure and science too, but it's an art form. It's a way of artistic expression in service of our clients. So, influence is not just digital. And maybe a young rookie might think that and be afraid that they're going to be replaced by a computer. And they wouldn't be at fault, because everything in the media and everything in movies is all about that, and robots taking over the world. It was that way in the 50s, and now the robots are bigger and nastier. It's nothing changes. But communication rides on affection, and it rides on human energy, and influence rides on our energy. And it actually is even something you can't quantify. It's like trying to diagram art, it just fails miserably, or dance by putting those footsteps on the floor. It's a losing proposition. And, we know it when it's missing in music. It becomes cold and flat, and we know it in the voice of a speaker. And we know when a computer's speaking to us, even though it checks all the boxes, it's got the prosody of a human voice, but it's missing the soul.
Right.
So soul is what moves us. And you, as a writer, have the ability to, when you get good, I hire copywriters in my business, and they're able, because I train them really well, they're able to capture the soul, most importantly, of the customer. And that's what we write to, and that's who we speak to. Communication is two ways. It's coming and going.
Yeah, love it. That's a great answer. And it's so true. Yeah, it's an aid. It can be a tool, and it is a tool for writers, but it's what you bring to it individually, your unique DNA.
So when my students ask me this question, and I'm sure when your writers ask you this too, they're nervous, right?
Yeah.
So they don't understand the value of their work.
Right.
And they think right away that they could be easily replaced by something artificial and soulless, right? So it's like a newcomer right away thinks that someone's going to rip them off and take something away from them. And I'm
Right.
talking about my people in voiceover. So they're like, well, if I do an audition, should I watermark it? Because can't they run it on the air, like that?
Right.
And the point is that we do that to ourselves first and foremost. We're the ones who don't give others access to our talents and our abilities. Nobody's going to take that away from you. Your talents are your gift. They were given to you by your creator, and you have developed them, and they're developed in action, in the giving them to someone else. You own that. No one can ever take that away from you, but you got to give it away to get more of it. You got to not give it away, obviously, but you got to in service to others to get more of it.
No, I love that. We see that with writing tests. Somebody will say, okay, could you send me a short sample based on this? I'm like, they could take that and put it in an ad. I go, well, let's say they do, and it outperforms other stuff they're doing. Most people don't want a one-shot thing, It's like they're looking for somebody good. And so I think you're right. It's a collaborative effort, and it really is an attitude. A scarcity mindset does not fare well for freelancers.
Yeah, so people think that if I use my talents, if I give them to someone, I'll be used up. I only have a limit. Right. I'm like a fossil fuel, I only have a limited amount. So I don't want to share it with anybody because there'll be nothing left for me. Well, that's total BS. Yeah. The more you give, obviously, the more you have. And the more you write, the more you speak, the more you interact with clients, the more you grow, the more you open yourselves up to the muse, which is a real thing. It's not something, airy-fairy, that it's a real thing. There's an energy, a universal energy and you know it, Cam, and I know it, and our listeners and our viewers know it. It's that state of flow that all of a sudden ideas start popping in, but you got to give first. You got to sit down at your chair, start writing, have a client in mind that you're going to focus on and in service of someone else. That can never be used up, ever.
Love that. That's beautiful.
Eternal. It's eternal.
It's fantastic. I want to give people some cool views on what you do and how you help people. And I know they call you the VSL whisperer because a lot of times big financial gurus will call you in because they're a little rigid, maybe. They don't know how to use their voice. We don't. We all just start talking and we keep talking, and that's how we talk, right? So can you give us an example of how you might take somebody and help them sound better on video?
Yeah. And I'm not going to mention any names. So my clients in some of the situations are not only nervous, but they're boring. They're brilliant, but they're boring and they're nervous. And my clients know that. So they call me in, and these are companies that have paid for the best of copywriters. Correct. So they give these guys fabulous scripts, really fabulous, the best scripts. Yeah. But then they kill it in the delivery. So that's what I do. I work with them. And so I've discovered there are actually 4 vocal influence types. And they are, watch out, I need to remember them now. They're enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is one, trust is another, authority is one, and charm is the 4th. So enthusiasm, trust, authority, and charm, right? And so, I'm a voiceover artist by trade. I'm the voice of Citibank. I've been paid to read copywriters' work. Yeah. Without you guys, I'm nothing. And without us voice talents, you guys are nothing. So we work hand in hand. And just what copywriters do when they have a product, and of course, when they study with you, Kevin, you teach them, I'm sure, to do a deep dive into the customer and what the pain people are feeling and their needs and all that good stuff you teach when they've done their work, and then copy comes out the other side. So voice talent, and the ones I teach anyway, and the experts that I work with anyway, they have no clue that they have to think like the copywriter. So that's where we start. They have no clue because these companies are so big, these financial newsletter publishers, and who I'm talking about, are churning out these campaigns and making millions and millions of dollars. But they don't think to take their gurus, who are also share in the wealth like the copywriter and
Right.
say, you guys need to talk to one another and understand like what the point is here. So the first thing I teach them is how to think like a copywriter and help them understand like where we're building trust and where to be authoritative, but where to build trust, where to really feel the customer's pain, and then how to put that into your voice. So there are techniques for doing that.
So you're saying you'd use all four of those in, say, one read.
Yeah.
For
So
different
most
reasons at different
scripts
times.
have opportunities for that. So usually charm is our opener before we get into, unless you're really starting with fear, so some of these pieces are very fear-based and, the world is ending, everything, you know what it is, Kevin. It's like
in a world.
Fear and alarm are used a lot to sell stuff. And it's just how the world works. So if you've got a script that starts with fear and alarm, obviously we're not going to throw charm in there.
Right.
But there's usually a little humor somewhere in every script. We want to make sure we hit that. And there's times like on the close, you don't want to necessarily be authoritative on the close. You might want to use the trust voice. So can I give you an example?
Yeah, I'd love that.
Okay. So we have several vocal placements. There's the facial mask. And if anybody is a singer understands where that is, but to explain, so sound emanates from our larynx, right? But we don't hear it until it resonates in our body chambers. So sound travels by resonance, not volume, resonance. If you can't be heard, if your voice sounds weak or wimpy, and maybe you're a copywriter, you don't talk to a lot of people all day. So actually you can have vocal atrophy. It's scary to think about it, but your vocal muscles are kind of a use it or lose it thing. So it's important you keep those in shape. So sound originates in the larynx. It resonates in our hollow body cavities. And when the voice is properly placed in the facial mask, which is an area that stretches from our sinuses down to our larynx in an inverted triangle, when the voice is placed there, it's your vocal sweet spot. So like I'm talking right now, I'm in the mask. And the way you can find your mask is so easy, Kevin. You hum like this. And you blend it with speaking like one. You can do it with me right now. Try.
Am I counting like the number one?
Yeah, you go. Let's go to 5. One.
One.
Two. And really blend the 2 together. Three, like that.
4.
Yeah.
5. Oh wow! Yeah, you can feel that. Like
6. Yeah. It really buzzes, and you've got a wonderful voice. Did you ever do radio?
No, I wanted to, but I wanted to also make money. So
this is true. That's why I left radio. But you have a wonderful voice.
Thank you.
But putting your voice in the mask will allow people to hear you, and that's such a simple exercise that anyone who has an important client call or is on camera like we are now, or doing a podcast, should do. 1, 2, count to 5 like that.
To warm up before they start.
Well, to place your voice in the mask, it's a warm up. And the second warm up is this. Like that. Try it.
Yeah. I've always
Not
had
everybody can
this.
put your hands.
I took
like
singing lessons for a while and I could never do it.
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah. And then you do sirens like this. From your lowest to your highest, gently and softly.
Yeah, that's where I have trouble with range.
Like that. You guys can try. Just do it gently. So those 3 things are great to do every morning in the shower, and those will put your voice into the vocal sweet spot.
Look, I get it. I know there's so many communities, I'm doing air quotes, communities for entrepreneurs out there, all filled with their own version of overnight experts chirping at you from behind the screen. You got your Facebook groups, your clubhouse rooms, just experts galore. How often do you feel like you're being pinballed around from thing to thing and picking up a little bit, a little piece there? How much of that is actually making it into your brain and your fingers and your business and affecting your money? How many of these people are actually out there in the field getting their hands dirty and testing to find out what actually works and what flops? Well, in the Copy Chief community, a real community, You get shoulder to shoulder with the most active, successful marketers working in the trenches today, all while learning from industry legends who rarely teach anywhere else, if ever. Copy Chief is an amazing community, super newbie friendly. Also, you'll find, elite level marketers and copywriters in there. They're all working to become the best at their craft, get paid top dollar for their skills, stay ahead of the competition by keeping their finger on the pulse of what's working now. That's the X factor. When you're backed up by a community and you can get any question you have answered by people who actually do this stuff and can tell you from real world experience what to do for your project, for your offer, for your funnel, for your clients, man, you're unstoppable when you've got that kind of confidence. Go check us out at copychief.com/join. If you've never been a member, you're going to see what you've been missing and you're going to say, where has this been all my life? And if you've been a member in the past, I would invite you to come and check out all the new stuff. We've completely updated all the tech. So we're on brand new platforms. Everything is slick and smooth and easy to access. And it's never been better. Copychief.com/join. I'll look for you inside.
So we talked about placement. That's the mask. The other placement is the back of the throat, which is like this. And you kind of are there in your normal speaking voice, Kevin. You have this really laid back kind of FM DJ kind of sound.
Right.
And it gets a lot of attention. Like you mean business. Like you're kind of like that. How's my imitation of Kevin? Do I do it good?
That's pretty good. Yeah,
So when we're getting back to the copy, sometimes when the trust voice, so when I work with my people on their VSLs, I help them understand that when you've got to close here. So the person is nervous. Don't blow it. Don't hit them over the head with the close.
Right.
Pull back and go, the world is about to come to an end. But if you have this, you buy this product and learning how to buy and sell gold, you and your family won't suffer. See how I'm doing it like this,
Right.
And you soften your voice, and there's times, and then it's like, okay, guys, and then I'm a little more enthusiastic. So we see now you're going to get this gold buying program. You're going to get my 20 reports, plus you're going to get a ticket to my special event. What's not to love? We're coming into the holiday season. All you need to do is go to this URL and sign here, and the world is your oyster. Everything is going to be well. Like that, it's like add more enthusiasm towards
so
the end.
good, right? And it's subtle. It doesn't look calculated. It just feels natural.
Yeah.
And that's the persuasion I was talking about before, is like, you're just taking people for a ride. These are cues, right? I know this from my days as a stand-up comic.
Sure.
It's amazing how you can change the energy in a room by slowing down. You know, does a brilliant. So watching stand-up comics, you see a lot of this, and they do it instinctively. Dave Chappelle is amazing at this.
Oh yeah, he's wonderful.
The thing I always think about Dave is I'm like, it's like he's just talking. It's like he's not even trying to make me laugh. But you'll hear it, all that stuff is very calculated. He works on that, and a lot of times he'll just say, like in the SNL one recently, he was like, it's hard. It's hard to come out here and talk to you people. And, it's like really sincere moment. But then for the punchline, it's yeah. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's a little shocking, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. And so, wow, that's brilliant. Thank you for that example.
It's my great pleasure. But you know what? People need to understand that this is one of the areas it's unusual. Here we are in 2022, back in the Great Depression. Do you know Dale Carnegie? We all know who he was, right?
Yeah.
He taught, for those who don't, he was like one of the first people to teach people public speaking in a very organized way. He had his classes, people still license his method. So back in the 20s, businessmen who were broke in the Great Depression would come to him to learn how to speak, and they'd get up in front of the classroom and he'd whack them on the head when they got nervous with a newspaper. Wow. But the point is that, what is my point? I forgot what my point was. But anyway,
to get it, would he do that to get them to change their energy and their voice? Yeah,
I guess to get them to change their voice. But I know what it was. The point is that people don't teach this anymore.
Right.
And we have, because we can hide behind our computer, we think, okay, it's a useless skill. And it's something that it's passe. Who needs to work on their voice anymore? To your point about Dave Chappelle practicing and everybody and comics practice, you got to do this, because let me talk about the benefits. When you master this skill, you already own your voice. So you don't need to pay a penny. And you probably know might work out already. You understand the value of, keeping your body in shape.
Right.
The voice is part of your body.
Yeah.
And it's the piece of your body that, we're one unified element. Your soul guides everything, but it comes through in your voice. Here's the other thing. Whether you like it or not, people know within seconds of you speaking the state of your soul, right? Which is not to say that we can't control that, because we all have to work. Sometimes we're in a bad mood or stuff is going bad. We need to control that and get on stage. When you're talking to your customers, you're on stage, But the point is that don't give it up. Don't say, oh, I'm born with this voice. I sound like garbage, or, No. It's you. It's your instrument. It's beautiful. You can improve it. And it is something you can use for influence and to improve your life. So don't just give it up and shrink and hide behind your computer. Russell Brunson recently said, Kevin, that people get into internet marketing because they don't want to talk to their customers. Well, what the heck is that about? Yeah. What's wrong with these? What's wrong with these people?
Yeah, I think the dialogue is everything. The copyright is fascinating because we are creating a two-way conversation from one side. And so our goal is to have the reader thinking what we would want them to think. If we could see them in front of us, their heads nodding in the right places. But hearing back from them, to me, I always say, is the most valuable thing you can have as a business owner. They will tell you what they want, what they struggle with. And so I think that's a stat-driven way to look at marketing, and not the human element of it, which makes it much more fulfilling for everybody involved, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So just looping back to the very beginning, people prefer human beings. They do not prefer bots. Yeah. Bots, they have their place, but no one will ever not prefer human communication. And I predict, actually, this is going to be a trend. People giving up the digital. I just read in the paper right now, before I got on with you, that young people are throwing away their smartphones and reading books. What a concept, right? They're getting like an old flip phone, right? And using that because they crave that human-to-human connection. It's a tool that you already own, that you have not optimized, Kevin.
Yeah. And when you optimize it, you'll only be more authentic. That's the thing. It's not about trying to sound different. It's about being more yourself. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what is an optimized voice? What does it mean to be optimized as a speaker? It means to be an enhanced version of yourself. That's you with energy, coherence, and poise, right? Yeah. So when you speak, people understand you. And it's not just to, be perfect, but they get your message. Mm-hmm. And what you're saying is completely coherent with everything else you stand for and who you are as a human being, your integrity, your dignity, your passion for what you do, and to be one unified picture and not to sit and suffer because you're terrified of talking to a real human being because it makes you nervous. Makes everybody nervous. That's normal. Right. Grow up.
Grow up. Grow up and speak up. That's what I'm going to call this episode. That's great.
Listen, fear of public speaking is a real thing.
Yeah.
And it really is. People suffer with it. And I'm such a flaming extrovert. You probably are too. Mm-hmm. I don't know that, if I wake up in the middle of the night, I go to the refrigerator, the light comes on and I'm on. Hi,
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling.
No, but I really understand. And I have a lot of compassion for introverts, people that are afraid of speaking. And can I talk quickly about where that stems from? Please. In case there are some copywriters out there that need our help, Kevin. The fear of public speaking, people who suffer from that are perfectionists. They just really are terrified of making a single mistake. And not only are they perfectionists, and might sound a little harsh, but I'll soften it in a moment. They're a little narcissistic, and let me tell you why. So the nervous speaker thinks, what if I fail? What if I throw up? What if I forget? What if everyone's looking at me, right? So all of their self-talk is me focused, not what can I bring to the party here? How can I give my audience a little something? What can I bring to my client? How can I listen better and understand their concerns? See what I'm saying? It's a shift. So when I work with nervous people, which I do a lot, and I help them, they are very self-focused. It's different from being self-centered. They're not. They want it. They want to help. But that self-focus is what causes tremendous amount of nervousness.
What is the quick mental shift? Is just put yourself in service of the audience.
Yeah. And believe it or not, it sounds facile, but it really is.
No, it's real.
Really,
it's a huge shift. They say, like, when you're feeling bad, go do something good for somebody.
Yeah.
Go help a stranger or call an old friend or someone you know who's lonely.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how it can snap you out of it, just putting yourself in service.
But I mean, listen, if you're speaking to a customer or you have to do video or do audio and you know it's good for your business, but you're terrified of it or you don't like the sound of your voice, don't listen to yourself, focus on them, give them something useful. And you have it. If they're in your tribe, Kevin, and they've been so well trained by you, they have it. You work with the best of the best. So this is the time, 2023 and beyond it's your time. Come out from behind that computer and
and it's a requirement now. We're all on Zoom calls, and it's weird when you go to meet somebody and they don't turn their camera on. You're just going to have to figure out your lighting and get comfortable doing it. And you can practice for free at home. Just get used to looking at yourself and talking. Susan, fantastic. Again, SusanBerkley.com. Get the persuasion code.
And you know what? And also, I'm really excited, Kevin, because in addition to our work with our voice talent, we're now working with entrepreneurs, copywriters, people who want to improve their speaking in their business. So by getting my free PDF of my book, The Persuasion Code, you're on my list. So you'll be the first to know, and which will be very soon. We'll be launching new programs to help you. And that's what I'm about this year. I want to help you a lot to be successful in your business.
All the world is now a stage, so we need you more than ever. I'm excited that you're doing more for a bigger audience. Thank you, Susan.
My great pleasure.
Great conversation. We'll talk to you again soon.
Be well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, don't forget your goodies. Head over to copychief.com/copychiefradio to get some great free stuff to help you put the things you hear on the show into action for your business. copychief.com/CCR.